Now let's run through the stories making the front pages of the newspapers from around the world this morning. This day leads with a federal government COVID-19 vaccination now mandatory for civil servants from December 1st. To issue revised safety protocol in the next 24 hours, remove South Africa, Turkey, Brazil from restricted nations list, and trend of infection going down in some states, rising in others. Above the nameplate for this day, Lawan, that's the president of the Senate, MDAs, that's ministry, departments and agencies, sabotaging the federal government's effort to provide critical infrastructure. There's so many interesting stories you can pick from, you can read when you pick a copy of This Day this morning.
And if you do pick up the Punch newspaper, very similar to that headline on This Day newspaper, NMA, health workers differ as federal government plans ban on unvaccinated workers. The federal government says workers must be vaccinated or present negative tests as from December 1. There's more in the Punch newspaper. The Senate summons Power Ministry, others over Buhari loans, warns of sabotage. And reps fall to budget deficit loans at $57 and $57 oil benchmark because it's threatening MDAs. There's one more from the Punch newspaper. Obaseki meets Buhari on ranching fund, backs e-transmission of results.
And moving on to the Guardian newspaper this morning, two main headlines. APC, PDP in flurry of activities to decide critical congresses. Well, it's saying the APC insists on going ahead with state congresses amid protest. And PDP Northern governors in marathon meeting to decide Ayu Shema's fate on national chairman. Another headline here, World Sight Day. Sight loss costs global economy $411 billion in productivity every year. Experts warn half of world's population will be short-sighted by 2050, one-fifth others at risk of blindness. That's it and more on the Guardian newspaper.
Well, the nation leads with PDP chairman, not party leaders' consensus plan shaky. Three geopolitical zones pick different candidates. Mac, Ghana, Idris withdraw.
And on the international scene, I've got the Daily Express paper here. Get your skates on for a happy Christmas. Now, shoppers are being urged to buy their Christmas presents in the UK as early as possible because of the supply chain chaos. They're saying it could intensify. And Stars Trek, the legend Shatner is the oldest person in space at 90.
Well, more on the international scene from the Daily Mirror. Still not a care in the world. Virus families fury as Prime Minister Boris Johnson is out painting again. I know yesterday's Daily Mirror carried the story of the Prime Minister painting at his billionaire pal's house. And that's on page 6 and 7. Another headline here, shortages crisis, rush to save Christmas as lack of HGV drivers creates chaos at ports and toys and gifts are stuck in containers. Brits are being told not to delay buying their Christmas gifts because of the shortages.
Well, let's bring in Emmanuel Bello for the review of the papers. So good morning, Emmanuel. Great to see you. The front page of This Day, the paper of records and our sister publication, leading with the announcement by the federal government. We finally have a date, Emmanuel. December 1, all federal workers must be vaccinated or show a test, a negative test that has been conducted 72 hours before. That means that in a week, the workers should have done at least 2 tests. Emmanuel Bello, will this do the trick to get more people vaccinated in Nigeria? Will it save more people from getting infected? What do you think?
Well, I guess it's an interesting story, and it's a big one. And I think This Day, did the right thing by bringing out. I think it's the only paper leading with a story on COVID and talking about the deadline, December 1st. already, even on the story there, you can see that groups are already kicking, civil servants are kicking against it. The bodies of civil servants are saying that, look, there isn't even enough tests to go around in the first place. And but I think the wider fear for most people is that this can be, a lot of people, a lot of workers can still find their way around this. Even the larger protocols that are around us, I don't know how many people stay, they're still crowding. Not many people are still, not many people bother about vaccination. So it's a problem that is out there. We're reporting it. Already the stage has been set for a showdown between workers on one hand and the federal government trying to impose the vaccinations and all of that. Sorry, as an aside, I noticed Kenneth is not wearing a blue tie. It's a blue tie. A blue tie by Kenneth will have just made it a uniform thing. Everyone is on blue, navy blue.
Okay, moving away from that, Emmanuel, let's take a look at the Punch newspaper. It's also got the similar headline with this day, but this one just happened recently. It's Anambra. Obiano's deputy defects to APC. APGA declares prayers. What's this going to do for APGA in Anambra now that the deputy governor has left the governor and the party?
Exactly, and the governor, William Obiano, was around the other day and was really talking tough and saying that APGA, Anambra State belongs to APGA, APGA is going to win. And then suddenly, these pictures are showing out. He had just had a meeting with the president. His deputies were the president, defecting to the APC. So your guess is as good as mine that it's going to be an interesting contest where you have the second person, the second most powerful person in the state moving to the ruling party, to the APC. And elections are about just a few weeks or some few days around the corner. You know that this contest is going to be very interesting, and we're going to be watching to see how this defection affects not just APGA, but also the chances of the PDP. Seems to be the three big parties that are running for this position. So, but this defection going to leave a sour taste in the mouth of Willie Obiano, who was just making a boast a few days ago on his visit to the presidency that Anambra belongs to APGA and APGA is going to win. I think this is not APGA politicians going to wake up this morning wondering what has just hit them.
More politics talks on the Guardian newspaper. APC, PDP in flurry of activities to decide critical congresses. The APC is insisting on going ahead with stages of congresses amid a lot of protests. They're having different positions and different sides. They're having different APC groups in different states, Emmanuel.
Yeah, and the operational word on that headline is flurry, yes, and there's a whole lot of flurry of activities going on. Another paper reporting that there's even confusion, so to speak, within the PDP ranks, especially on the issue of chairmanship. We predicted that as soon as the PDP said they were zoning the chairmanship to the north, that we're going to see this kind of developments. Who is going to become the chairman? We're not talking of even the confusion that maybe will arise with the issue of zoning the presidency. Even that already have started generating some controversy with a group within the PDP saying, open up the presidency, don't zone it. But what has been zoned is the chairmanship, and already the various regions, the three regions, the big regions in the north are beginning to produce some consensus person around the issue. Well, we're watching the story. Will they be able to negotiate and realign and do a lot of negotiations and consensus building around the issue? We're going to watch the story. But yes, Guardian got it right. Flurry of activities. Politicians are hardly sleeping. Was with some last night and they were awake till this morning. And so all sorts of activities are going on among politicians. Some thinking of even moving to rival parties, others weighing their chances within the party. It should be expected at this stage in the race.
And of course, we'll keep our eyes on those developing stories to the nation. Quite some interesting headlines there. For instance, this one, banks get deadline on dead customers' BVNs. Igboho seeks nod for treatment in Germany or France. But the bold one there is the Northern Caucus of the People's Democratic Party failing to reach a consensus. I think you spoke on that a bit, Emmanuel, but 3 geopolitical zones pick different candidates. As Mac, Ghana, Idris withdraw. Is it about to become any smoother for the PDP, Emmanuel?
Yeah, with the withdrawals of some of these big names, they were probably, like we said, I said initially, they are going to be a whole lot of realignment, some understanding, some, give and take. Negotiations generally, that's what politicians do, that's what political parties do. So with some withdrawal, maybe we have just a day to the working week, but as we run into the weekend with more meetings, we'll be waking up maybe by Monday morning with a different story or some kind of agreement around the issue of who they want to see become chairman. But one thing they are very sure is that the chairman is going to come from the north, and it's up to the regions to decide on who they want to present as a consensus candidate.
Still talking politics and the election come 2023. The Punch newspaper, Obaseki is expressing his support for the e-transmission of results. Of course, we tackled that yesterday. And even more, on page 9 of the Punch, Mogalu is announcing a 6-party planned merger. He's also hailing the transmission of results. Some weeks ago, we did talk about is it a third force or is it a fourth force, with the former INEC chairman wanting to be a part of it. This force, what do we call it, Emmanuel? The fourth or the fifth?
Well, it's the force, all the same, and it's all part of the push by, politicians to say they look for, they're looking for alternative platforms, not just the big parties there, the PDP, the APC, the ABGAS that are out there, looking for other, what do you call them, smaller parties, but they feel that if they come together, if the small parties come together, they could actually get a push, because they're looking for not just the third, like you say, the fourth or the fifth force, but some platform where they can actually actualize the dreams without necessarily being at the mercy of the bigger parties. So it's just efforts to seek better alternative platforms.
Much Emmanuel Bello. That's the press review on Daybreak today.